All right. I thought it would be nice to show the nature here. So, I have been having a few conversations in the last couple of weeks online and in person with people that I really respect. That has made me think it's time to address a very painful realization that I came to. Like, I really, really believe I knew finally that I had been tricked hard was summer 2024. And it had been swimming in my mind since January 2023. And I had been on the Trump yacht in the 2022 Q campaign period of my indoctrination, and yours maybe too. I had been to a couple of political meetings. I'd been in like sleeper group. I had been in a sleeper group for for all this. Anyway, I believed that he was going to set things right, right? And then at the same time, RFK wrote his book about Fauci, and then my friend got it and gave it to me, and then I gave it to people of my church. And I was like, okay, great. People are going to understand that this injection is not good. This is for entertainment purposes only. And then as things started rolling on, I was like, oh, cool. How amazing would it be if Trump and RFK got together? That would be so cool. And everything's going to be right in the world. And we can just tie up a little bow and everything's going to be fine. Guess what? That's this script that is utilized on us through movies and television series and novels and stories, that everything's going to be lived happily ever after, and that things are just going to roll up and be all great. And then you're going to die at a certain age, and you're going to remember the game of life. And if anybody remember that, I love that game. I was like, oh, cool. It's giving me all the cues that I need, like, to understand how this life works. First you do this, then you go to college, then you're in a sorority, then you get married, then you do work in this, and then you have a job where you're either an owner of something, you own some property, then you retire, and then you die, right? No. I'm living 150 years, at least. I think we can go longer than that, and I think that when yes you, truth referred to eternal life, that it was not metaphorical, that it was like these the when does the fertile tree die? How old is the oldest olive tree? How old are birds? How do we know the age of birds? How do we know the age of the leading bird of a flock that somebody's tagged and goes back and forth? I don't know. I'm open to you telling me, hey, Victoria, check this link out, and this is a study. I just question if anybody knows the age of squirrels in nature, right? Because we've been sold this construct of this binary construct of things having to be black and white. And I'm getting back to the two individuals that inspired me to speak tonight. But it has to do with this, that we think that there's going to be a hero, right? That hero is you. That hero is you in your circle, in the people that you're around. You start living your truth, and you may want to say something or you don't want to say something, and you want your actions to show who you are or whatever. But when I've learned in my walk, in my journey, in my ongoing journey, that when I intellectually capture something, it's really hard to get that away from me. Like, I stopped coffee in 2023. And I have several reasons why, and I've gone through that in other videos, but like, my point is, it just doesn't make sense to me that I'm consuming a burnt seed 3 times for a taste that I did not like naturally when I first had coffee at 21. And there's something wrong with this camera. I'm not this thin here. Whatever. I'm eating. So I just feel like I look kind of gaunt here, and I'm not. So back to the main topic. So I thought, okay, these 2 guys, they get together, it's going to be great. Like, things are going to be good, right? We're going to have this guy who understands that these injections or these therapies are good for us. He's going to speak out, and he's going to stop that, because I followed his website for a long time, and I believed that his information was verifiable. It was in 6 languages. I passed that website everywhere. I believed in Children's Defense Fund, Children's Health Defense, CHD, yeah, children'shealthdefense.org. Until several things. The congressional hearings for this gentleman, RFK, exposed that he had invested during the pandemic. That's saying during, like, 2020 and 2024 to 2025. He was investing in CRISPR, Nobel Prize winning technology that has to do with the mRNA, you know what? One was called Dragonfly. I can't remember the other. One was in a $50,000 amount. It does not matter the amount. And I found the financial statement online. You can find it too. That he had to, I guess, submit to the Congress. And it stated that he had those investments. And I looked up the companies, and you can look them up. Okay. And so that was disappointing. So I was like, oh. And then if you watch the hearing, if you can make yourself watch it, like, wow, I'm impressed, because I watched a couple hours. He basically is like, yeah, well, if somebody comes along and shows me the vaccines are good, I'm all about changing my position. Okay, you can watch those words coming out of his mouth. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am asking whoever's watching this to come to their own conclusion. And then this whole measles BS started. Wait, no, before that, when our president was inaugurated, within 3 days, 3 to 5 days, I want to say 3 though, he announced the alliance with Oracle to create a cancer vaccine for the cancer that has been caused by the warp speed injection for the non-existent, you know what, that has never been proven to exist in human tissue. Look up Christine Massey. Do it right now. Thank you for those of you who are joining me. I'm sorry that I'm focused, but I want to get this out. And I'm not looking at your messages right now. So Christine Massey is a huge hero. I followed her on Telegram early, and she writes Freedom of Information Act requests and has gotten over 240, if I'm not mistaken, 220 to be safe, letters back from government laboratory institutions that submit to their ministries of health or health departments or the CDC or the HHS, all the human health services, which the director is RFK, and he was hired by Trump, and he's in charge of all the health of the United States, thus the world. And not one, all of them answered that they have not isolated, you know what, in human tissue. The Schmovid 19 in human tissue has not been. If you haven't been on my channel, you know that I have to be careful with words. And that's why this is for entertainment purposes only. And I continue to repeat that. But I need to get this information out because it's very disappointing. I believed in these people. Okay. I really believed for a while. I recognize that I have this weakness, that I want things to just wrap up and be good. But I now look at people's actions and words and put them together. And what we know is that in this year, in 2025, there was a supposed measles outbreak. That's never been isolated in human tissue either. It's also a reaction of your body that's detoxifying from a poison that's been imposed on it, if it's that, but mostly it's just panic from, it's just, look into Dr. Tom Cowan if you haven't already. That's a good place to start. So what are we talking, March 2025? And Mr. RFK comes out, who, by the way, is a lawyer. We just put the top health official of the United States / the world into office, and he is not we, the Brotherhood of the Congress, but our public opinion put him there because we're paying attention to this bullshit. But in any case, he's not even a doctor. He's a lawyer. And if you want to just type into the internet, lawyer Jesus verse, and see what he says about lawyers, just put those 3 words in. And from what I understand, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Constitution says that not one elected official should be a lawyer. And our last president was a lawyer, Obama. But I have my Constitution in the car, and I'm reading it slow and repeatedly because it's so... You just got to know that these are rules that have been set up for a group of people, and we choose to abide by them or we don't. And the disappointment, finally, is that, so this measles thing came out, so RFK and Trump went out promoting a measles vaccine. That was very disappointing, as both had presented a different position in October 2024, when I was at the Weston A. Price Conference, and the MAHA movement was strong, just pre-election in Orlando, where there were lawyers from childrenhealthdefense.org who were these beautiful, smart lawyer women whose one had an autistic or a child that had been affected by a vaccine. It's like incredibly moving stories that believed in RFK, and we were all like cautiously happy. I wasn't, because I had already heard his loyalty stated to a small country that has nothing to do with my day-to-day life, and that he was more faithful to that country than the United States. And as we know, that is currently the Trump's position as well. And I lived in another country, and I am an American, and I would take issue if it was Colombia that the leaders of our country were deciding to money launder, contribute to the mafia that is operating through food supply in a worldwide extinction strategy, implemented through chemicals. It's basically alchemy. Okay, all right, that's too much. But that's what I believe. And I have good news. We can reverse all this. And I believe that we can reverse all of this with not giving a shit about what's going on television with these actors that are in these departments of the government that we finance, right? We have to look locally at how much is your town spending and how much taxes do they ask from you in your town or in your state. Like, and just look locally. And then just start looking at that. That's pretty much my message, is that my thoughts on these two individuals is that they don't matter to me because they don't affect the decisions that I make for myself and the little ones that I'm charged with raising. So I would encourage you to also have that kind of a thought process and recognize, maybe consider that these actors are there for distraction from precisely your local budget, your local municipal leadership, and your HOA, and your decision with your neighbors if you're in a homeowners association situation, just like a cooperative apartment building. You can break that down. You can reverse that. These are all just rules that you agreed to and you may not have understood, and that's forgivable. That's in the law. That's natural law. You did not understand that these things were harmful to you. Like having for instance, what I've encountered as an owner of a condominium situation that has an administration model. They charge 7% on every purchase that they make as their fee for administering the property for a group of owners. I'm like, that's a totally perverse incentive that makes no fucking sense at all. The only purpose in associating with other property owners is that there is a benefit as far as formally, because I think we should love our neighbor, but you don't need that in writing. You need that in action, in words and behavior. But the only reason to have a homeowners association is so that they protect you and they protect the interests of the members of the HOA. So you own the HOA, just like we own our government. If we decide to exercise our speech. And there's a lot of intimidation. And I know I'm just now in this new walk. I believed in all of this stuff. To an extent. And I was a part of it. And I'm not proud of that. And I'm telling you that it's words. And we just have to force our minds to use the logic muscle more. Not get scared to come through an idea. Like, just make the decision. All right, I'm going to look at every angle of this situation, right? And I'm sure that whoever's here knows that about cosmology and that we're not on a globe. And so if you don't know that, I encourage you to look into the fact that we are not on a globe. And that will also help you open up whatever you want to call neural pathways to your recognition that you can come to conclusions based on information available to your observation, number one, and conversations and research. But the main thing is facing the fact that we have been hoaxed. I have been hoaxed. You have been hoaxed. We have been tricked. And I was a dummy. I was stupid. I believed it. My ego got in the way. I thought that, it was comfortable. It made sense. Logical fallacy. Huge one. Logical fallacy. right? It makes sense because they made up something before that I believed in 28 years ago. So it just like rolls on it and it all makes sense, right? So that's what they roll on. They roll on our inability to question and not be embarrassed by questioning. Like they know they've been conditioning us to look at Legoland. Okay, that's in my hometown. So Legoland is teaching children to be a good citizen. It's some kind of saying like that. It's like something citizen, and that's fucked up, right? That's like be a slave, right? I didn't know all of this until the last few years, you guys. So I'm just sharing with you, and thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to read comments, and thanks for letting me talk about that. It was important to me because I know this is painful for a lot of us to understand. I was on my own walk. I came to it maybe earlier than you, or maybe you knew for 10 years. Maybe you knew your whole life that all politics is BS. I did not. But I encourage you to just talk about it and express what your thoughts are. Hey, Miri. Hey, Love Kung Fu. Thank you guys for being here. Mikey, the Sute, I don't know who you are. I'm just kind of confused. I looked at your profile. Very interesting, like your opinions, but they're pretty new. And thank you for being here. So you say, I've watched people use Celtic sea salt to help with ADHD and autism. Seeing autistic children, they can speak for the first time. That's interesting. The salt may the right voltage in our bodies. I personally think, yep, so do I. That's what I've been talking about. I'm Victoria Salt. That's what I'm into is salt. That's cool. That's great. That's interesting about autism. Hey, Mr. Superside Winder. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed your meal. Oh, be a brick in the wall. Tony, I did not know that. Horrible, huh? So maybe a troll. Just saying that, if anybody followed. I hate saying but I wanted to talk about that. And then there's another topic I wanted to bring up, which is really crazy. And sad. So I don't think I'm going to do it tonight. I'll probably talk about it tomorrow. But I'll just leave you with the 3 words that I thought of putting as the title, or the few words. The physical manifestation of abuse. How you can read it in a body. And I spoke with a friend tonight, and he was like, that makes some sense. So it's sad, but it's something that maybe could help help parents and help us understand how the body shows what it's been through. Okay, you guys have a beautiful night. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you on somebody else's stream, or please comment here. I love your comments. I really like to engage, and I really appreciate your company. It's very, very heartwarming, and I hope that you feel the same, that there's somebody out there that maybe thinks about some things that you think about. I'm just presenting ideas. I'm not selling anything. I really love children. I'm living 150 years. You know, my SALT theory is sun gazing, earthing, grounding, consuming pure non-iodized salt, and looking natural and not lying. Because lying puts us in disharmony with nature. The animals don't lie. That's putting you out in the wrong vibration, because those lies usually come from your mouth. So that's a vibratory, horrific thing, because we cast spells with our words. And it's really important to be precise and careful as much as possible, or all the time, with our words, or not say anything. So thanks. Good night.